Hey everyone, it's Johnny, your independent Scentsy consultant. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have 4 wax warmers to share with you, and they are not Scentsy warmers. They are actually warmers that I've found at Meijer, which is a retailer that is most commonly found in the Midwest, and it's from, 3 of them are from the Fusion brand, which is Fusion by Scentsationals. And then I have one that is from Better Homes and Gardens, which I'm actually really excited to share because it's something that I haven't personally seen in a warmer from Walmart or Meijer in general. So let's dive right in. This won't be a super long video, but I was excited to share these, and as you know, I love fragrance, and I love warmers, and as much as I love Scentsy, it's not the only thing that I love to enjoy. So, first things first, we have the Fusion by Scentsationals Sterling Full-Size Warmer. And if you notice, this one is kind of like electroplated in silver. It's similar in that sense to Scentsy's Etched Core warmers from January this year, where we had them in gold, silver, and rose gold. Now this warmer, this is a 25 watt warmer. I believe those warmers that we had from Scentsy were they 25 watt? I think there were 20 watt warmers now that I'm thinking about it. But either way, they work really well, even though they're a 20 watt warmer. And that is also partially, in fact, because they're a ceramic warmer. So they just insulate the heat from the light bulbs really well. I actually have one of each of those in my bathrooms in my apartment, just because they are a little bit more narrow because of the cylindrical design, and they throw super fantastically. So that being said, this one is the Fusion variant, if you will. If you notice, instead of being a cylinder, it's more of like a pear sort of shape, but the same sort of electroplating and finish. And then this, and unlike having a ceramic dish, it actually has a black metal dish. Now, this is probably my biggest gripe with this warmer. I was kind of like, why do you have this very pretty silvery, chrome finish warmer, and then you put this black dish on top? And it's a black metal dish, so it may conduct heat pretty well, but my kind of gripe with this dish is that it's very shallow if you look. You could probably hold maybe a cube, maybe 2 comfortably, but it's quite thin, and I do take issue with that. I prefer a deep and generally wider dish because I feel that it helps to distribute the heat and warm the wax more readily and evenly. But anyways, personal little gripe. It doesn't overall destroy the warmer itself, but things I would have preferred. Now this warmer, I believe, is only $20, $25, around that range, US. So it is a little bit more cost efficient if you are on a budget. However, there are some sacrifices in terms of aesthetics and potentially quality. So that being said, this is what it looks like when you turn it on. And just like our Etched Core warmers, you have the little holes where you'll get a little bit of a dim glow from them. But if you're looking for something to give off light, this is not going to give out you much, if any, light at all. And the dish, obviously, because it's black, is not going to allow you to see through the top either. It's opaque. It's not a glass dish. So again, I'm not super wild about the dish on this one, but that aside, I might try to see if I could find a ceramic dish that would fit in this warmer shape, just to kind of give it a better sort of aesthetic look. But it does work, and I mean, the cable is black, so I guess it works in that sense. I guess I'm being a little bit picky with it. But I'm pretty excited about it. It does feel like a solid warmer. It's not a thin sort of ceramic piece, which is nice. But I would have, like I said, liked to see a matching or complementary dish. So that is the first one. And you're also probably like, well, Johnny, if you have the silver etched core from Scentsy, why would you want this one? Well, I was thinking, I know it's a dangerous thing for me to do think, but I was thinking it would be kind of cool to get the mini silver etched core warmer and then place that one and the full size and this pear-shaped silver one all together like a trio as kind of a little display. Obviously, you wouldn't necessarily need to put wax on all three of them because that would be a lot of wax to be warming, but it would look, I think, kind of aesthetically kind of cool because they say with design, like design things in like odd numbers or threes or something like that. So anyways, that was my thought. I'm pretty excited about this warmer, and you know me, I like adding warmers to my collection. All right, next warmer we have is also by Fusion as well. This is called the Shim Shimmery Warmer, and this is a beautiful mosaic cylindrical warmer. Now, I have a Scentsationals Royal Plume warmer. I love it to pieces. It's like kind of like teardrop shaped mosaic glass pieces, and it's mostly like a purplish indigo color and then like white grout. But I loved the design of it, and I found that the performance of that particular warmer was astounding, and the build quality was just great. Sometimes I find it's a little bit hit or miss with inexpensive wax warmers in terms of quality or general just styling or design, but I was super impressed, and so I was hoping that this one would be the same. And just looking at it, I have it outside of the box. It is very much the same design, just a different sort of grouting and tile finish. What I love about it, as I loved with my Royal Plume, is that it's a thick glass, so it's not going to be super flimsy. It's going to probably contain and trap some of that heat from the light bulb a little bit better, which is great for warming. And then probably my favorite feature of this style of warmer is the dish. Now, this is not the deepest dish, but it is very wide. So it's not quite as wide as something like the, what is it called? Like the pinhole paisley warmer or something that we have. Those are that have, or like the Revere warmer that has an extra wide dish that's also really deep. This keeps the width. It sacrifices a little bit of the depth, but overall you could put 2, 3, maybe even 4 wax cubes in this dish without it overflowing. And that's something that I really, really appreciate. And I love that the fact that it's wide, it's going to be able to distribute the heat a little bit better towards the wax. So I'm super excited about this. And I also really like this because it's a red warmer, and I seem to have like the worst trouble finding a red warmer that I really, really like. So this one is hopefully going to be that. So let's see what it looks like lit up, shall we? Ooh, oh, look at that. That's so cool. All right, so one thing I'm noticing that I didn't think is that the mosaic tiles, you actually see, they're not solid. So like you see the different like distress in the different tiling, and I actually kind of like that even more because it gives a little bit more of a little more character and unique quality to it. And yeah, it might have been cool to have it be like super smooth colored glass, but honestly, I really like it. Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed. Now this is a 25 watt warmer, so you could grab this one and, you know, use a Scentsy colored bulb if you wanted in it, for that, as long as you batch the wattage correctly, to give it a different sort of appearance. But I really, really enjoy this, and it almost kind of is complementary, now that I'm thinking about it, to our June warmer of the month, Chromatic. It's not quite as colorful in all the different colors, mind you, but it's that same sort of vibrant, bright, exciting sort of finish. So I'm very excited about this warmer. Actually even more pleasantly surprised with it now that I've seen it on. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you like this one? It will definitely be going, I don't know if I'll use it for like a holiday warmer or like a seasonal warmer or something, or just because warmer, or just, you know, whatever. But I am thoroughly happy with this one. And I think this is also around the $20 price range, if memory serves me correctly. All right, let's move on to warmer number 3. Now this one I was really curious about. I found an Edison warmer from this brand, Fusion. And this one's called the Fir Grove Edison warmer. And if you look at the picture here, it kind of is reminiscent of Scentsy's like wildlife warmer, but instead of being like wide and narrow and frosted glass, it's a clear glass with silhouette and an Edison bulb instead of a standard 25-watt bulb. And it's like a lampshade style warmer. It's like the tall cylinder warmer, right? So this warmer was a little bit more expensive, like the $25 to $30 range, I want to say. And it does have a really nice, awesome glass dish. It's pretty durable and thick. Very similar to the frosted glass dish on the last warmer that we just looked at, the Shim Shimmery warmer. Just clear instead of frosted. So that's pretty good. I'm very excited about that. Now let's take a look at the actual warmer itself. Now, oops, it comes in parts. So this is actually reminiscent, has a shade. So if you were used to the old Scentsy warmers, the old lampshade collection, they would come with a base and then like the cylindrical shade and then like the dish that would sit inside, usually in a trivet. So with this one, it's kind of following that sort of older school design concept. So you have a base. This is like a wooden sort of base that the Edison bulb thing sits on. And then you have your glass lampshade that goes on top. Now this one, I will say, one of the things already I'm liking about this is that the glass shade, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it actually sits inside the base rather than the base having an elevated edge and a lip that it sits in. I always felt that was one thing about the Scentsy lampshade warmers that I loved to pieces, but also was kind of like, if you bump it, it's more prone to wobble or fall off rather than something like this where it might actually have a little bit more traction from just gentle touches or nudging. One thing I don't particularly like about this, though, as I'm looking at it, is that, I don't know if you guys can see again, this glass on this lampshade is very thin. Almost akin to, honestly, it might be similar to what the parlor warmer was at one time. We had an Edison warmer that had like a clear sort of ombre glass style. I think that one had a thinner glass as well, but I'm not really keen on this thin glass. One, because glass tends to do better as a thicker sort of build when you're trying to heat and distribute heat, but also just in terms of it just feels more fragile, and that's something that I don't usually want in a warmer. I want it to be like a sturdy piece so that if it gets bumped or knocked, it's not gonna like completely KO. All right, so then we have our dish and we sit it on top, and all right, so there's something here that I need to point out that I'm just noticing, and I don't know if it's just this particular one that I picked up or if it's just a design choice maybe gone bad. But if you look really closely, it'll probably be able to see better when the light bulb is on. But the actual bulb itself just grazes the bottom of the warming dish. Now, granted, with normal thought process with a wax warmer, you want the light bulb to be as close, ideally, to the bottom of your warming dish as possible so that you can get the maximum heat, bang for your buck, distribute the heat, get the wax melted properly. But I take a little bit of issue with it actually just touching the dish. I think there's a couple issues that worry me with this. One of them being if the glass gets too hot, it could potentially crack. If you crack it and it has wax in there and the wax leaks on the bulb, would that cause an electrical issue or a mess in the best case scenario? Or if you're like heavy-handed and you kind of like drop that down, could you crack the bulb and then the bulb breaks, or the bulb has a slight micro crack in it and it gets heated up and bulb explodes or something? I don't know. I'm a little bit leery about that. I think you could maybe problem solve it by getting something to kind of heighten the ring that the bottom of this kind of sits on in the base so that it maybe is elevated a little higher so there's a little bit more clearance. But right out the gate, the fact that you might have to do a little bit of DIY maintenance to make sure that this is a little bit safer before warming in. You can even kind of hear it rattling and kind of touching the bulb too. That's a little bit of a concern of mine. But I do like the design of it. I think it looks cool. So let's turn it on and see what happens, shall we? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. So I do like how this looks. I think it's really elegant. I love the clear glass with the silhouettes of the trees and then the Edison bulb. But again, I would really strongly suggest, if you get this warmer, to find either like little foam pegs or something to kind of elevate this just slightly, so that if you look, that the top of the bulb is not smashed up against that warming dish. Okay, and this does have a little notch for the power cord at the back, so that's kind of cool as well. But again, biggest gripes I think with this one are mostly on the execution of the design. I think the clearance, I keep saying that, but that's like my bigger concern. The clearance of that bulb on that dish is just, it's not a vibe. That, and that this is a very thin sort of glass. All right, let me carefully put this down and to the side for a moment. And then we will take a look at our final warmer, which is very much not a thin glass warmer. It's actually a thick glass warmer, and it's definitely a Johnny warmer in terms of some of the aesthetic quality. So I'll wrap this up in a minute. So I actually took this last one out of the box already because I was so excited, but I will show you the box anyways. This is called the Ribbed Glass Fragrance Warmer. It's from Better Homes and Gardens. It looks kind of like this. And what's really cool about it does look like a gold and clear glass, kind of ribbed glass warmer. But one thing that I wanted to take your attention to here is at the bottom it says on 2, 4, and 8 hour timer, auto timers. So I have never seen a warmer, at least in my experience, or a Walmart warmer that has an auto timer built into it. Usually they're just like the standard, like click on, it's always on, or it's always off warmer. This one supposedly works with an auto timer. So we're gonna take a look at that together, as well as the warmer itself. And I have it, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, right over, let me just plug it in early so that I don't worry about it later. Right here, this is the ribbed glass warmer. And it is pretty gorgeous. What I really love, especially you'll notice more as I kind of turn it with the camera, hopefully, is that there's kind of like that iridescent sort of soap bubble finish on the outer exterior of the glass, which kind of gives another layer of, you know, shiny to it, which I personally love. And you'll also notice that compared to the picture, here's the picture. The picture kind of shows it being more of a brass or more of a yellow gold, like a strong yellow gold. Whereas when you see it in person, it's almost like a very muted yellow gold, if not like a really warm white gold. So I feel like even though it's gold, if you had like a silver or a satin nickel sort of finish theme going in your room, you could probably still get away with using this because it's not inherently like yellow gold in your face. Now this is a 25-watt warmer. It does have a beautiful wide dish. It is metal, so I'm not super wild about that particular part, but I guess it kind of works with this design. But it is a wider dish than the silver chrome looking one that we saw earlier in the video. It is a deeper dish and it is wider, and it has that nice finish, although I feel like, again, maybe could have, I worry that this finish might wear out over time, so just be mindful of that. It may be something to be concerned about. But the other thing I'll say about this before we turn it on is that look at this, look at the thickness of this glass. This is no joke. She's thick, or it's thick. I guess it doesn't really have a gender. It's thick, right? This glass is what I'm talking about. When you have a glass warmer, ideally you want one that has a thicker glass outer sort of shell, if you will, because it will allow you to insulate some of the heat better, rather than, whereas with a ceramic warmer, it doesn't run into that issue usually as often. You sometimes have that issue with a glass warmer. So I'm hoping that because it's so nice and thick, it will distribute the heat nicely. And then again, as I said, we have an auto timer situation. So if you look, our switch for this is not the standard click switch. It's a button, and then it has the little 2-hour, 4-hour, and 6-hour little dots. So what's going to happen once I turn it on, we'll show you the whole remote thing. But the first time you touch it, you turn on the warmer. And that's like just straight up on. And it's a gorgeous warmer. It's quite bright, but the ribbed glass does diffuse the bulb brightness a little bit. So while it's really bright in the center, it kind of, what do you call it, smokes out as it gets further out. Very pretty though. Has a slight vintage charm to it as well. Now, back to our little remote over here. If you click it a second time, you'll see a little blue button. That's for like the 2-hour auto timer. Then you click it again. That's the 4-hour auto timer. You click it a third, I guess it'll be the fourth time. That's the 8-hour auto timer. And if you click it one final time, it will be turned off. So that's like 5 clicks there. Now, I'm very excited about this. I'm excited to try a timer-based warmer, and that's something that I would love to see at least on one model in the future for Scentsy warmers, because I do know that I have some customers who don't necessarily want to have their warmers on all the time, but would like to be able to turn it on and then kind of forget about it and let it do its thing. And so an auto timer is such an ingenious idea. And the price point for this warmer, I believe, was only about $20. So very, very cost efficient if you're looking for an auto timer warmer. Now, I can't attest to the actual quality or how effective it works, but I would assume it will work as described. I haven't usually had any issue with Walmart warmers as a general rule of thumb, but just keep in mind, I have no way of knowing. So, but I think it's a cool concept. The other thing that I will say about this is if you use smart home plugs like I do to kind of control turning on and off your warmers or lights or whatever, it may or may not work with this particular warmer because it has the multi-button switch. Usually those work really well with things that are always going to be on or always going to be off, but if they have a bunch of like, if you turn it on the first time, it does this. If you turn it on the second time, it does this. Sometimes it doesn't always work with the smart plugs. So keep that in mind if you do have a smart home or smart situation for your warmers. This might not be one to pick up. But I could see it being really useful as like, I don't know, maybe a nightlight warmer if you used a dimmer bulb, but somewhere where you want it to be on for a little while and then shut off. This might be some sort of warmer that you might look for. And if you don't want to invest in a whole number of warmer just to have something auto shut off, again, smart plugs. You can even get the old school, but the timer-based timers that like just kind of rotary timer, and when you like push down the pegs, it'll turn on and off at the certain times. I used to do those as well. So anyways, those are the 4 warmers that I wanted to share with you. Of course, when I, go on a trip for whatever reason, I have to go scope out wax and warmers because that's what I do. But let me know what you think. Which one is your favorite in terms of design? What you thought about the different ones. I think my favorite in terms of uniqueness that I've found in general from like a retail store warmer is probably this one for the auto timer feature, not necessarily the design itself. I think the design is nice, but it's not necessarily something overtly unique. I think I really enjoy the Edison version of this one, and I love the design, but I also have concerns about the build quality or the engineering, I guess, if you will, of this particular warmer itself, at least straight out of the box. I think in terms of colors and vibrancy, this is probably my favorite one, and it's even more vibrant and pretty than I thought it was going to be. And then this one just goes with my little trio of silver-plated excitement. But I think I will have to find a different dish because that black dish is not doing anything for this warmer. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was fun. Thanks for sticking in. And if it was, consider hitting the thumbs up. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more adventurous videos in the future. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.